Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you there. I was too busy drinking my tea now, wasn't I? Well, shit. Seeing as though you're here, I might as well call up the boys and, well, we'll have another episode of TheLoreWhores. Why not? It seems to be quite the talk around town these days, that show. Yes. Well, before we start, I think I'll say a Happy New Year and Merry Christmas. Yes, in reverse order, because I'm a special snowflake. Yes, well, cue the kick it, I think. Yes, cue the kick it.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hermaphrodites and Fuda elves, welcome to the second episode of TheLoreWhores. Today, in this episode, we are going to be talking about the Deathwing Raid and the ending cinematic, as well as a Horde faction analysis. My name is Erodus. I am, well, funnily enough, I play the character Erodus on Moonguard. I'm an RPer, and my two cohorts are Ikanis and Krillin. Guys, say hello.
Hey.
Hey guys.
What's going on, guys?
And gals.
Guys and girls.
Controls.
Yeah, guys, girls, and all of those other genders that you identified earlier that I was somewhat... Yeah, I don't know what the food is. I don't really know if I should acknowledge them. They kind of bring us down a little bit.
Quit being close-minded.
They weigh us down, if you will.
Fudas are things too, okay? They have feelings. Let's move on. So I think the first order of business is to talk about all the people that have listened to the very first episode. From my perspective, thank you very, very much, guys. Yeah.
I love those guys. All those guys that I don't know yet. But hi! Thank you very much for listening. We really appreciate the feedback that we've gotten so far. It seems everybody really likes it. So we'll continue as long as everybody seems to like it. So yeah, that's my take on it.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen.
Thank you everyone that's been posting on our YouTube page. Really appreciate it, and thank you everyone that's been putting in applications.
Yes.
We're processing them at the moment, so if we don't get back to you immediately, we are looking at them.
Definitely. For me, it's very hard to pull myself away from pornography when I'm in front of a computer. But when I can actually manage to do that, I do read some of the emails. And I'll tell you what, I'm trying very hard to reply back as fast as possible.
Just take a side track here.
Almost as fast as he clicks.
I know.
Moving on. Actually, let's just go straight into it, guys. Are you guys okay with going straight into it?
Yeah, what are we talking about first today?
I prefer a little foreplay, but I mean, I guess we can just dive right in.
We'll just dive right into the Dragonsoul, because let me tell you, there's a lot of beefy information here in Dragonsoul. I don't think we're gonna need foreplay per se.
We can just
with
dive right
so
into
much to cover. Exactly.
Whole lot of dragon meat.
Just enjoy this for an hour.
Yep. The word of the day is moist. Okay. I want to get something out of the way straight off. One thing that we've actually talked about in Guild is how do we handle this as role players? What is the point? Where is the point, I should say, where we actually say, as a guild, as role players, Deathwing is dead, let's roleplay about that. For me personally, it's when you see the big sort of monument in the capital city. That's when it says it for me. What about you?
Really? I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. You know, it's kind of been my personal philosophy for the longest time to consider the boss not dead until it's dead on like heroic mode. Whether 10 or 25, I'm not really particularly picky. I kind of went with a 25 on the Lich King simply because it was a lot more complicated of a fight on 25, man. I don't really know. I guess it was kind of like a, you know, I feel like the Lich King is at his most powerful in 25 heroic, even though, I mean, as far as I understand, the 10-man was a little more difficult. Anyway, that's not really the point. I really like heroic mode death for more server first as the consideration, not world first, but server first.
Server first, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely lean more towards Iconis's interpretation of it, in that whoever gets the server first, I almost always treat it as whoever gets the server first was also really sort of there and saw it happen. You know, they obviously didn't get the killing blow,
Yeah.
since Thrall really just ganked that shit. But
I exploded a power dose.
Hmm.
Think about that more later.
For me, it's like you're waiting on something that's hang on. You're waiting for the players to actually move in and do something. So it's more of like you're waiting for an OOC thing to happen for an IIC sort of conclusion. Does that make sense? Like for me, yeah, like for me, it's like as soon as you see that as your character, because I mean it's in game. As soon as you see that as your character, as soon as you see that that's the monument, for me personally, it's like, yeah, like he's dead. We can roleplay from now on. But I guess the real question is, how do you handle that as a guild? I mean, you can handle that on a player-by-player sort of thing, but actually, how does the whole server handle that?
I mean, that's the thing, because like you're never gonna get consistency. You know, I've already seen people that would sit around and be like, oh yeah, I was there. I saw Deathwing die. I stabbed him in the face. Lobbed off his arm. The whole rest of my raid died. I fought him bravely. I destroyed all of those tentacles alone. I'm a hero, majesty. Bow down before me.
It's like every character on Moon God, really?
Oh yeah, dude. No, like it's like Goku or something. It's just gonna be there's like 4 weeks of like filler fighting, and then eventually they both mutually destroy each other. And then Thrall shows up with a laser beam and then kills him. Where was I going with that? I completely got lost on my nerd rage.
I really got excited by the anime and tentacle references too, so it's okay. I fully understand.
Oh yeah, I mean, you just gotta have those every now and then.
You and every other Japanese schoolgirl.
I mean, because it's really hard to kind of put it on like a server-wide basis, because everybody has their own. Obviously, as on a server basis, everybody has their own interpretations. Like right now, we already have a diametric difference, but we already have people that like pretend that they. I mean, look at the Cataclysm. We had people that's like, "Oh, I have visions that the world will be destroyed. It's going to be amazing. There's going to be fire everywhere."
The best part was when you got characters that really shouldn't be having visions, like rogues or warriors.
My warlock's having a nap. It's like, I just saw Deathwing in my dreams, and he just came popping out of the maelstrom. It was really crazy. Like, you don't even know how intense this was. Like, I can't even describe it. But I mean, in all reality, on a guild basis, I kind of just feel like that's something that, like, the guilds just like make a consensus on. Hey, looks like they got the server first. We'll consider him dead now. It seems like on a guild basis, consistency should be important, but like on a server basis, you could just kind of dismiss it, I guess.
Well, we've now that that's out of the way, we've touched on the roleplay side of things, and I think that's the most important roleplay.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, that's the point of why we're here.
What about the lore? Now we've all seen the ending cinematic by now. I mean, I hope so. But yeah, like, what were your feelings after seeing that? I mean, I felt sorry for Kellic, that's all I'm gonna say.
Hey guys, we're gonna be I guess I'll let Plague go first, but yeah.
Seeing the dragons depowered, is that the
Yeah, that was
that's the one we're speaking of.
Referring to, yeah.
Okay, because there's so many cutscenes in that dungeon that I'm just like trying to remember like which one was the end one.
They're short, but they're great.
Yeah. So I was kind of getting confused. I was like, man, which one was the end one?
It's the one with Swayze, Captain Swayze.
I love that boss. I love that. I love that NPC best.
They land in and then they just instantly get thrown off. That was great.
Yeah, I love those two. But no, honestly, I guess I really just could not give two shits about dragons.
Rude.
Like I really enjoy killing them, but that's about as far as I go in caring about their lore. Like, I sort of missed the days where in early WoW where you could run around and there'd be red dragon rare elites that you could fight.
Yeah.
Why? who cares? You kill the red dragon. It's fun.
It's a red dragon. Kill it. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Just have that thing and wear it like a cape.
For the longest time, everybody in Warcraft is apparently like all mortal races were cool with killing dragons, and then all of a sudden, like Wrath of the Lich King, it's like, hey, these guys are saving us. Woo!
Yeah, there was just like a sudden turnaround on it.
One of the things I miss is I remember playing Warcraft 3 and you're going after Garethos, etc. And Garethos has employed all these different people to help him out. He's got Pandaren there. There's a whole bunch of Pandaren there.
Oh, you're talking about the
reskin Furblog models.
the tower defense mission, the special mission that they had, right? That if you unlocked it. Right, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I liked that, even though it wasn't strictly canon, but it was pretty cool. Like, and you had dragons as well. Like, you just had red dragons there, and like it was sort of like now I like the lore behind it. I love what Knack did to the lore thing, but for me it's too fleshed out. I mean, obviously your player doesn't like the character that you're playing doesn't see that, but for me it's too fleshed out. Like I'd like a bit more of an enigma still there.
Speaking of Garethos and that mission, for being like a human racist, he was pretty equal opportunity employment.
Yeah, he was mercenaries. It's like the pandas and the dwarves, and he's got some elves there. That was really nice. That there was just I think there was elves. Weren't there like huntresses in one of those waves or something like that? I don't remember, but I'll have to go investigate that, play through that mission again.
But I guess another thing I should really touch on now is, in regards to the dragons not fulfilling they've become mortals now, right? And they want to sort of hand over their roles over to the mortals of the, us, like the normal mortals. I want to see where we actually, what sort of groups fill those roles that the different dragon aspects had. So I'm thinking, like, for magic, you've got the Kirin Tor, and the Kirin Tor could probably take care of time as well. You've got, the Cenarian Circle taking care of your Sarah's sort of stuff. Like, is that what we're going to see? Or are the dragons still going to be active? It seems like they've been fade away to me.
I kind of feel like maybe they're going to, maybe it's going to be like some sort of like apprenticeship process where the blue dragons are going to bring some mages over to the Nexus and be like, hey, why don't you learn how to handle these layways and everything so that I can take a nap because I'm a dragon, and I do all lizard things, and one of the things that lizards are good at is napping.
Yeah.
So,
in the sun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Speaking of napping, completely unrelated note, do you think all of those cats in Oldham, just sleep all the time?
Well, I'd say so. There's not much to do, really.
God, I'm going to vacation there.
They had hammocks, but I can't find any now that I go back and visit them. I thought I saw hammocks going to Uldum once.
How do they fit in hammocks?
I don't know.
How do they actually get into
special?
The hammock?
I mean, cats. I had a cat leap 5 feet up onto my desk, or up from my desk to a bookshelf earlier. I don't know. Cats have magical ninja powers.
Maybe we really should just have the cats take over the ley lines.
You notice that dragons act a lot like cats, at least in WoW. And especially in that dragon movie that they had recently, the How to Train Your Dragon. Everybody seems to associate dragon behavior, their mannerisms, with cats now. I don't know if anybody noticed that.
Well, it's because we sort of view them as being very independent, headstrong characters, and when you think of a dog, you don't think of independent and headstrong. You think of a cat, and if you're going to take a dragon as a pet, like in that movie specifically, you're going to want to draw parallels with something that the readers already know.
So you're saying I can't make a parallel between a dog and Deathwing? Is that what you're suggesting?
Depends on how abstract you are, really.
Yeah.
The thing I want to know is, I want to know why every conversation I ever have always ends in cats. That's a going theme with me for some reason.
The internet, bro.
Yeah. Wait. We were talking about the dragons and different mortal races taking over their roles. You're saying like an apprenticeship sort of thing?
Yeah, that you have the Earthen Ring, and they're obviously monitoring the Earth now because all of the black dragons are dead, pretty much, except for the one for the Fangs of the Father quest chain. I don't remember what his name is. Isn't it Rathion? I think that's his name. But allegedly, I mean, in the Twilight Highlands quest chain, you kill off the last broodmother of the entire Black Dragon flight. You kill off all the baby dragons, which is nice. You know, you're just murdering baby dragons. That's good.
Yeah.
But you also end up killing so many of the black dragons during the duration of the game, and it's really kind of demonstrated that the last of both the Twilight and the Black Dragon flights are dead. And I'm getting derailed again.
But I swore though that there's a quest in the Badlands somewhere where you save a black dragon egg.
That's
like
the guy.
Yes.
That's the one.
That's
that is him?
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow, I did not know that they tied
it's
those
that
in.
same guy because
It's like a
as
continuation
far
of that story.
He really
as
grew
far
up
as I-
quick.
well, I mean, it's been 7 years. Dragons they shrug off aging. But where was I going with this? Train of thought lost.
The way I see it, right, this black dragon's gonna grow up, and it's gonna be really cool, etc. But I think what they're gonna do is they're gonna turn this black dragon into Medan's mount, and together they're just gonna go away and sort of save the planet. Because what I'm trying to say here is we need more Medan, really. So run with that.
No, we don't.
You're right. I lied.
we need more Medan. Like I need more stabbing myself in the eyes.
But you're telling me
Yeah.
that you don't want a half dragon, half orc, half pretty much everything. Is that what you're telling me?
It's like Goku. It's just that character that just everybody for some reason really likes, but nobody wants him around because he's a Mary Sue. That's the most Mary Sue character I've ever seen in the existence of Warcraft.
They really could just we could bring Drizzt Do'Urden in from the Forgotten Realms, and we just have a great
An element,
travel. An element
traveling trio of overpowered superheroes.
Mm.
And then they could beat up Superman. It'd be a great crossover.
Well, I guess the serious reason for mentioning Medan is, do you think we're going to see him play? Because I mean, they built him up pretty big in the comic series, and it was a surprise to me that they said that they weren't going to use him in this expansion. And I'm kind of have the feeling that they're not using him because of fan reaction to him. I could be wrong on that.
Pretty much.
It pretty much is
would-
because of fan reaction.
That's what I would write off with it.
Because he really got blasted when he showed up in the comics. Like, his approval rating is absolutely the lowest I've ever seen of any terrible character introduced to
A
the comics.
national poll has determined that Medan is highly unfavorable.
But
Exactly.
do you think we're actually going to see him play a role in the future? And I guess in MOP, I should say. Do you think he's going to be
I hope
there
not.
somewhere?
I don't feel like there's a place to put him.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's
Like,
what I'm
I
trying
think
to
there's
really
something
figure
that
out.
fits.
Yeah, like, if they were going to introduce him, it would have been in this expansion because it deals with things that he's really sort of supposed to be
Cho'Gall
involved
and
in.
Corona. I mean, they bring in other elements from it. They brought in. I mean, Caligos was brought in. I don't know if that's the same. That's not the same manga, is it? But anyway,
No.
they brought in Garona and Cho'Gall, who, as far as I understand, are part
They-
of.
yeah, they were.
Medan. Yeah,
I guess, I mean, I definitely
I
think
really
we're
liked
gonna
what they
see him
did with
again.
Garona as a side thought, but I think we're getting derailed again.
Well, yeah. Well, all I'll say is I definitely think we're going to see him again, and I'm sort of scared about that. I guess we should move on because we've played around with all sorts of tangents. We've danced with the main topic. The next topic we should touch on is the Horde faction analysis. Now, guys, straight off the bat, what's your favorite Horde faction? Go.
Undead.
Mm-hmm.
Duh.
Hi, Kenneth.
All of them? I don't know. I'm a real
Ooh,
equal
okay.
opportunity, race loving horde person. I'm really.
He
kind of-
is really an equal.
Like if you look at
opportunity.
all 10, like if you look at
Horde,
all
yeah.
10 of my characters, you have every race except for an orc, and I have a really hard time role playing an orc. Oddly enough, I don't know, but I have everything else, so I feel like I'm an equal opportunity horde person.
So you love all the races. So you're pretty much the George Harrison of this little group we've got going.
Yep.
I see.
That's
see.
me.
Me personally, I'm a Blood Elf whore. What can I say? I absolutely love the Blood Elves. In regards to pretty much anything, I love the Blood Elves. But I guess, see, my main problem is, and I'm going to take this from a Blood Elf's perspective because, as I said, I'm a Blood Elf whore. But I think there's a major issue with the Blood Elves at the moment. You can say the same for the Draenei. They've been left alone in the little corner. No one wants to talk to them, sort of thing, you know. I think if we're going to move forward into this next expansion, where it's an expansion where we're going to be at all-out war, and I mean, that's what I'm hoping for, absolute all-out chaotic war, you're going to need two factions that are very, very strong. And so what I pretty much want to point out here is the weak points in this sort of faction analysis. For me, the weak point is the Blood Elves. Would you guys agree with that?
Like as the weakest link in the chain as
Weakest
far as
link
like
in
a
the chain.
race?
Yeah.
As far as maybe like country strength, I would tend to disagree simply because I mean they've had so many years to recover, and I mean they're supposed to be the most powerful mortals in all of Azeroth, I suppose. As far as spellcasting is concerned, as far as like loyalty to the Horde, I gotta say, I imagine that Trolls and Tauren are both competing for who hates orcs most at the moment. Or at least not orcs, but Garrosh, because I mean, you have Vol'jin kind of getting kicked around left and right by Garrosh, and you have Garrosh murdering Cairn, and I'm pretty sure people are still going to be upset about that because I don't think it's ever been pointed out to the Horde in general that it was a setup, that he was, you know, kind of, I guess framed isn't the word that I want to use because they would have killed each other anyway, but that it wasn't Garrosh that kind of sealed the deal.
Yeah, I actually probably wouldn't put Tauren in there because I don't know. I actually Tauren are probably my second favorite race, and I really don't like to talk bad about them. But I'd agree with the Trolls, purely because the way they have been mismanaged by Garrosh, and they've basically been, you know, kicked off to their island. And
which is funny because Vol'jin is still like so crazy devoted. Like you see it in Zandalar and the Zandalar patch that he's still like, you know, like I'm with the Horde guys. Sorry, this isn't gonna work. I'm gonna go this way.
I wouldn't want to say like the issue is in my opinion, it isn't an issue of loyalty that makes them strategically the weakest target, but the fact that they are living on an island, and the Horde is not known for its its naval strength, and it is pretty easy to besiege an island and absolutely demolish it from the ocean. Like those islands are not secure in the slightest.
Yeah, because I mean they have Naga invading them, obviously in the starting zone.
Yeah,
that are just like, hey, we're gonna chump all of your weird palisade wooden walls, and I mean the Trolls obviously aren't noted for their architectural strength and fortress making ability, so
yeah,
I would be willing to suggest that the Trolls strategically are probably the weakest link.
Yeah, like they're on top of it, really. Trolls are known to be ridiculously awesome hunters, and considering those are small islands, they don't really have a whole lot of room to maneuver whole units of, you know, whole troll units.
Yeah,
it'd be pretty easy to flush them out.
See, for me, like I'm talking about like the weakest link in general, like in regards to the whole sort of faction. For me, it's still the Blood Elves, and the reason behind that is, sure, they've got the Sunwall back. Sure, they are. I guess they're just a little bit higher than the Kirin Tor in regards to magical sort of scholarship and stuff. But at least the Trolls were at the Battle for Undercity. I mean, the Blood Elves weren't there at all. Which is funny because the Forsaken are pretty much the Blood Elves' defense against the rest of the Eastern Kingdom. You'd think they'd be there. The Blood Elves weren't Acioneus, they weren't giving a hand there at all. the Orc Mages, when they were implemented into the game, it was the Forsaken, I believe the story was. They learned...
Which I thought was a little silly, to be completely honest.
Why not turn to the Blood Elves for that sort of thing, you know? But I guess the point of what I'm trying to say is, though, the Blood Elves weren't there. Now, is it because they are still so weak and they can really only handle what's happening in their own lands? And if that is the case, then why would Garrosh continue to shelter them?
I don't think it's so much an issue of them being too weak to do it, but the elves have always had a policy of isolation in regards to alliances.
Oh, I agree with
They're
that.
the North Korea of Azeroth. Or is that too soon?
But see, ouch. I don't think anyone really cares that Kim Jong-il died, but that's a bit of a tangent there. My big thing is you're in a horde that is it's run by Garrosh, right? And we all know the sort of character that Garrosh is. For me, it seems like Garrosh wouldn't be the sort of character to say, well, you know what, they like being left alone, we'll just leave them to their own devices. Nah, like, Garrosh would be the sort of character that's saying, right, I don't care if you guys sort of don't want to help out in battles and stuff, you're going to help out. And you're going to support us the best way you can, which is with magic. Even though he's not really sort of a lover of casters, he's more of like run in there and beat the shit out of people with an axe sort of thing. He's at the very least like a smart sort of strategist. I'd say he would see the benefit of having spellcasters there.
I would argue that point because in the alternate future that they show Sylvanas in her character story, posted up on the WoW website, it proves that he's actually a pretty terrible strategist in terms of using anything other than orcs. Well, because he completely just throws the Forsaken forces out there, and instead of using them like they should be, he just throws them out there as frontline troop fodder to be mowed down, and it completely decimates in that alternate timeline. Completely decimates the Forsaken civilization. Like, he destroys a civilization because he's a terrible strategist. Like, straight
he's
up.
that guy that just kind of got thrust into power and has no idea how to actually run as a war chief.
But like, at the very least, as a leader, you would think that he'd be able to see what the strongest point militarily each race had to offer. Like, I'm thinking, like, what does he see when he sees the Blood Elves?
Yeah, but at the same time,
wussies that don't do anything constructive, I think, is the way that he sees.
Then why would he keep them around? I mean, that's my thing. Like, why keep them around if that's what he thinks? I'd be utilizing them, personally.
I don't know. Maybe he just... I don't know. Like, I guess maybe he just sees their dead weight.
Honestly, I think he's just too busy hating some undead.
Nah.
Like, he can only hate so much.
Yeah,
and he's got a lot of hate on the humans, and he's got, like, a lot of hate on the undead.
Which is pretty much like undead.
Yeah, which is pretty much the same thing.
Yeah. Well, I guess, okay, so what we've pretty much gotten out of this is that we think that the weakest links are definitely trolls, in regards to their allegiance to this new horde, and I guess you really do have to separate the two. There was the old horde, which was Thrall, and I'm not talking about like the old horde, but like the old Thrall horde, just to get that out of the way, and the new horde, which is Garrosh's horde. The least loyal would have to be the trolls. Do you guys still think that we should keep the Blood Elves as a weak link, or do you think
I would say militarily maybe they're... I mean, like, as far as like obligation, I don't know. I mean,
well, the thing
to me they're kind of weak, but I mean, in comparison, like, you got to put weak in perspective, because in comparison to like the orcs and Forsaken militarily, sure, they're weak because they haven't been doing a whole lot of conquering. But as far as like potential, you know, they're still really powerful. I mean,
that's something that I really want to show up in MoP. Is I want to see more Blood Elf Forsaken interaction.
Oh yes, please.
Because if they're going to take the field, I think the Blood Elves will take the field alongside Sylvanas.
The biggest thing that I find interesting, that I think a lot of people overlook, is the fact that the Blood Elves and the Forsaken, like, the Blood Elves really, really need to suck up to the Forsaken. The point is that, like, the Forsaken provide this barrier to the rest of the Eastern Kingdoms, like if you want to invade Quel'Thalas as, say, a human or a dwarf, etc., you have to pass through Forsaken lands to get there, unless you use ships and stuff like that. But if you want to get there by land, you have to get through the Forsaken. And that's why I think it's cool. Like, I know with my character, Rodus, I've got him having sort of this hate against the Argent Crusade because of what they can indirectly do to Forsaken Blood Oath relations, I should say. Because if the Argent Dawn sort of like spur on the Alliance to start this war against the Forsaken, which they could do, I mean, the Forsaken are being a little hostile, but if they did that, then that's a threat to Quel'Thalas as well. So I sort of play that as well.
Well, at the same time, I can't really blame the Forsaken for having hostilities towards the Argent Crusade, because they really are setting up their own little kingdom inside of what used to be Lordaeron, which, as far as the Forsaken concerned, is their land.
I agree.
Because, I mean, they owned it when they were alive,
Yeah,
so why
and they're
should
still,
dying...
Yeah, they're still
Exactly.
around. So why should dying, revert that ownership from them?
Well, I guess one thing we have to ask is, in Blood and Honor, when Tyrion was effectively exiled, was he exiled from just Stratholme, or was he exiled from all of Lordaeron? Because if he's exiled from all of Lordaeron and he's coming back, and he's trying to take a claim for Lordaeron, then it's pretty legitimate, in my mind.
I haven't read Blood and Honor, so I wouldn't be able to say.
It's good. Metzen wrote it, that's all I need to say. Go read it.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, I know it's good, I haven't been able to get the time to read it. I still haven't read the newest book. I haven't read the Thrall book yet either, so...
Both of them are good. I'm actually reading through Wolfheart again. Knack did a really good job with Wolfheart.
Oh, I have so much reading to do.
Was there anything else you guys wanted to say on the very sort of brief Horde faction analysis we did?
I still want to go back and talk about the aspects and Deathwing some more, but that's up to Plague.
Oh, no, we can talk all about dragons that I don't care about to your heart's content. That's fine.
Oh, yeah, see. Yeah, okay.
So, what did you want to bring up?
First of all, we deviated away from the aspects that I really wanted to talk about, because you brought it up earlier about their purpose being fulfilled, and it was really fun because we had a discussion in the guild the other day, and I've seen it around, like, what exactly was meant by their purpose being fulfilled, because they don't ever really say.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they can't really say that our purpose has been fulfilled because Deathwing is dead. Because Deathwing was made for the same purpose that they were, he just kind of screwed it up. So, we actually had a couple of theories that kind of came up, and mine was really that, first of all, I mean, I guess my idea was, when you go through Halls of Stone, you kind of learn the old gods are these symbiotic parasites that if they fall, then so is Azeroth. Azeroth's kind of screwed without them because they're so ingrained at this point. Mm-hmm. And the dragon aspects were obviously installed after the war with the elementals and the old gods were in prison. So I always kind of assumed that the dragon aspects were put in power to kind of be like Hodir and Freya and Mimiron and all those other guardians to kind of keep watch over the guardians, over the old gods. Like, they're the dudes in charge of the wardens of the old gods. You know what I'm saying?
So they were like middle management, is what you're trying to say?
Well, it's sort of like when someone says, who watches the Watchmen? Well, they watch the Watchmen, I guess is what you're trying to say.
I mean, yeah, I just, because, the way, if you took it from that aspect, then you kind of get the idea that inadvertently somehow N'Zoth has been defeated with Deathwing's defeat. And it's obviously never, like, directly implied. Like, you have no N'Zoth showing up and going, "Oh, I'm so beat up now." But you have Cthulhu dead, and I'm gonna call him dead because we have no real idea to support that they're still alive.
Well, that's a really interesting thing about them. Like with Cthulhu, he follows obviously his namesake's sort of lore, Cthulhu's. He's very Cthulhu-esque in that he's dead. He is dead.
Yeah.
But he's still, like, you can't kill that which isn't alive. Like, they sort of follow that whole bit.
Yeah.
And he can still obviously interact with the material world, as shown in the WoW comics, where Cho'Gall tries to drive the Mary Sue crazy by strapping him to it.
Yeah, that's gotta be really uncomfortable anyway. It's like I'm strapped to the giant corpse of this old god tentacle monster. But that's
Yeah, yeah. Cthulhu strap-ons. I don't see them really taking off.
no, that
They
wouldn't
really
take
only
off.
take off in Japan. I don't see them taking form anywhere else. But for me, it's like I don't think they're dead. I think we just killed a part of them. I don't think you
Right.
can actually really kill an old god, which I guess is what you're pretty much saying.
But I guess what I'm saying is that maybe they're not dead, but they're so utterly defeated that the aspects aren't necessary anymore. That they're to the point where they're no longer a threat, and like less of a threat than the Burning Legion, because the Burning Legion's obviously not dead, because Kil'jaeden's not dead, or at least we have no reason to believe that he's dead. Just that he got sucked back into the portal. Sargeras is still sort of, kind of, I guess, around.
He's still
Archimon's
there.
really
He's still there.
Archimon and Manaroth are dead. You know, most of the Legion's known commanders are dead, but the Legion is still very much there.
Yeah.
So I guess I feel like that's what the old gods are going to be now, is that they're like a presence that's not going to die off. And I mean, really, none of the bosses, I mean, none of the evil factions in Warcraft have really ever been completely eradicated until this point. Because I consider the Twilight Cult to be completely, I mean, all of the Dragonsoul descriptions of like the dungeon journal and everything say this is pretty much the last vestiges of the cult and of the Dragonflight and everything. So I'm going to consider the Twilight Cult pretty much eradicated at this point for myself.
We pretty much destroyed the Dark Horde in
Oh,
Valhalla.
well, yeah, okay, there's that. But I mean, like, you know, the Scourge and stuff. And so I guess overall, the old gods, to me, like, I feel like the aspects were around to handle the old gods when inevitably they broke out. And somebody else kind of brought up the point that, okay, you know, well, I think it has directly to do with the Hour of Twilight. And for me, that's kind of weirdly paradoxical, because the Hour of Twilight would not have occurred without Deathwing.
Yeah, which was an aspect. Who was?
I mean, you know, it's just like, so it's like he was empowered to be an event that is specific to happen, and they like without him, it has to happen, but it happens because of him. So I don't really know why they would have empowered him in the first place. I mean, maybe it's some sort of Titan thing that we don't understand that's so great and like overwhelming and so complex that we can't comprehend it. But that would be really silly, personally, for me to kind of comprehend. But, you know, even if that's the case, then, you know, it doesn't seem like that fits. And I guess for me, I'm okay with them leaving it as a mystery as to what their overall purpose was. But I kind of like the idea of it just being, okay, the old gods are so utterly defeated that, you know, that there's no longer any reason for us to be overpowered over them.
See, I kind of like the opposing viewpoint, because we have to keep in mind that the name of the Titan that empowered the
Khaz'goroth.
Khaz'goroth. He gave a dragon the ability to exist outside of time and manipulate time. So it would make sense that the other Titans can see the various other alternate timelines and see all the various outcomes that could happen. And it makes sense that they'd see, if they let the Hour of Twilight come and make sure it plays out like this, it will be the best possible outcome for the whole universe.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's implying, though, that the Hour of Twilight would have happened without Deathwing anyway, which I'm not sure. I mean, I guess I could see it, but everything to do with the old gods being free has to do with Deathwing anyway. Like, if you take Deathwing out of everything, then the old gods would not have been as much of a threat, I feel like. I feel like over the old gods, Deathwing is the source of all the bad things. Like, I feel like Deathwing is the reason we can't have nice things in Azeroth.
Well,
like,
I mean, could you have an Hour of Twilight without Deathwing? Now, let's take a look at it. I mean, what's more powerful than an aspect, an Azeroth? Like, who could the old gods have tried to turn mad other than an aspect?
Well, let's pull back a bit.
Anyone?
Let's pull back a bit. The aspects were there at the War of the Ancients, right?
Yeah.
And how would the War of the Ancients gone without the aspects there?
A little more messy.
They
I'd
probably
say.
would have lost. I mean, in all honesty,
It'd be a little more messy,
Yeah.
and we'd have a whole lot of demons hanging around. Okay, now, and we know that the old gods brought the demons to Azeroth to try and get them to free the old gods.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, let's imagine one of the Lords of the Burning Legion being influenced by the old gods, and instead of being Deathwing, we have one of these
Archimond.
demon lords, or like Archimond.
Oh my god, that would have been amazing. Archimond with tentacles.
You
Is
demon
it possible
fan.
though? Is it possible? Like, is the influence of the old
Could you
gods
drive something crazy more crazy?
Yeah, like is the influence of the old gods stronger than the influence of fell magic? It's a good competition in my mind.
Yeah, and it's obvious that they're not on the same side, due to Hyjal's quest chains. At the end of Mount Hyjal, you go around and you're helping the Twilight Cult kill demons. So they're obviously not on the same team. The demons were just being used as tools.
But we have to remember that Deathwing wasn't originally on the old god side either.
Right, but I mean, like as per current times, they're not on the same team.
Right. Well, right now.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess, I don't really know because, like you said, the War of the Ancients led to a sort of a potential release for the old gods. Illidan broke Yogg-Saron free. As far as I understand, the crack in his prison came into existence because Illidan tried to use the Eye of Sargeras to break the Icecrown Citadel, and it inadvertently cracked Yogg-Saron's prison. As far as I understand, that's how he broke out. I don't remember what Cthulhu's way of being freed is, but I don't know. It's really kind of weird because they always kind of describe that the old gods were kind of like in the War of the Ancients books. They talk about them all being sort of just, I don't know, in some weird, really, really cramped space all together, just hanging out in some little tiny prison thing in a hole at the bottom of the sea.
Yeah, somewhere very, 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 very deep down.
Yeah. So I don't really know. I sort of feel like I lost track here. But I guess I just feel like that saying the dragon aspects were created for the Hour of Twilight centered around Deathwing seems a bit peculiar, convoluted. Yeah. So I kind of feel like either it's going to be a mystery left to time. Funny because it's another Stormer joke. But
Jesus Christ.
anyway,
Thrall's
I
balls.
feel like it's either going to be that the old gods are no longer a threat, which I can believe because their major avatar, their source and potential for dominating the planet has been utterly eradicated by, golden M&M with a mouth laser attached to it.
Well, they are yet again not a threat today.
Yeah,
Maybe
I mean,
in
they're
the
no
future,
longer a
but
threat.
we've
Yeah.
rendered them useless now. And guys, I
Yes,
think we've pretty much covered
We did.
everything.
I think we
Everything
skirted
today.
around Dragonsoul, the actual raid a bit, didn't we? Have we gone over that? I don't think we really went over that, did we?
Oh, go for it. Please do.
Oh, I was just gonna say, because Plague and I got to go. I don't know if you've gotten to go do it yet, or it's in Raid Finder or something. But Plague and I got to do it in Raid Finder, and yeah, as Raid Finder, it's really funny. But us as role players, it's kind of a big deal, because it's really epic. Like I feel like it was really epic. I think the thing that's more epic about it is that if you combine it with the 5-man dungeons and everything,
it works out really well.
the timeline of Dragonsoul seems to be really small. It feels like the siege of Quildanas and of the Black Temple and Ice Crown were all very long, drawn-out sieges. And it feels like Dragonsoul was all cramped into the space of like 2 days at most. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it felt like we were racing.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like we were fighting in a battle, but so much racing through one with the war going on around us.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, then it feels like it goes from like that all the way from End Time to Madness of Deathwing. I feel like it was all just this one continuous flowing event, which is a really big change because everything else, like I said, has been really drawn out so far. And now you have like this climactic ultimate battle, which kind of draws on what we were talking about earlier. Is like, when do we consider Deathwing dead? Well, that means that, you know, the people that really killed Deathwing, in a way, are probably the only people that would have actually been there, unless, you know, you had a character that just happened to be in Dragonblight. I mean, like, our guild in characters sort of kind of around the Northrend area at the moment, but, you know, unless you were really there, you would have missed out. And I guess that's why I feel like it's okay that the forces that are demonstrated there as being from the mortal races are so small. I mean, you have the Wormrest defenders there at the start, and you never really see them again, and there's only like a handful of guys. And I was really kind of thinking about, I'm not really going to consider it canon, but I really wanted to write up a little fun story about my characters involved in the battle. Not against the bosses, but just against, you know, dragons and stuff. Because I just, you know, there's nothing more fun than having your characters written out as they're killing and murdering dragons.
See, I've never ever had a Rodus that deep into a big event like that. Like at Icecrown and stuff like that, he wasn't involved in that party that went to go help the Lich King, that sort of thing.
Right.
He might have been around Icecrown,
He might have been
helping out in some way. Killing, yeah, like he's a Blood Knight, right? I just, it's very hard for me to put my character in such a defining moment in the timeline as a role player, because I sort of want to skirt.
Because you feel like you're metagaming and
exactly. I don't want my character
like,
to be too big, you know?
You don't want to skip special, right? Yeah, I mean, I guess that's why I was just, you know, thinking of using mine as kind of like these no-name guys that were among the defenders that were just fighting dragons and faceless ones and stuff, because you can have a lot of fun with that. I mean, those are terrifying creatures nonetheless. So, you know, it's not Morchok or Ultraxian, but it's still, I mean, that's a faceless horror that has tentacles and could beat you up and it could drive you insane and all that other stuff. But I think the Dragonsoul Raid, like as far as the lores talk about, I mean, you go through Morchok, who's the last of the elemental lords serving Deathwing at the time because you've killed everybody else, and then you move on to the two generals of the Old God Army. One of them's supposed to be the Avatar of N'Zoth, or of N'Zoth, who I think is Zanaz, and then you have Yoshi, or Yorsaj. I like saying he's Yoshi because it sounds like Yoshi, and his name sort of looks like Yoshi. If you drop in, fizzle around with the welders a little bit.
Does he turn players into eggs at any point? Or?
No, but he does drop little oozy things, and I'm going to consider those eggs. And they're all multiple colors, and Yoshis do come in many colors. Yes, so I think that's fitting.
I'll pay that. I'm with you.
And then you have Hagatha, who is, as you mentioned earlier, is one of the orcs that was trained by the Forsaken as a mage. And then I guess sort of fused that with shaman powers and just became super awesome and magically got into the Eye of Eternity with nobody noticing.
It's magic. A wizard did it.
Yeah, it's a wizard. And then you have Ultraxian, who is again supposed to be the big Twilight, ultimate uber Twilight dragon, and is supposed to be kind of the last of the Twilight dragons. And then you move towards Deathwing. I mean, you have Blackhorn, and our friend Xandris, who's a Tauren in the guild and loves everything about Tauren, has been complaining for the longest time that there was no significant Tauren in WoW beyond Mr. Smite as raid bosses. And now I feel like he can finally not talk about that anymore because he has like it's a prop warrior Tauren, and he's got a dragon pet, and you're fighting him on an airship. He now has nothing to talk about anymore.
Yeah, I really feel like it's almost like Blizzard was listening to Xandris.
Yeah.
Because God is loud, and
we're gonna have him on the show. We're gonna have him on the show.
We're gonna get him on the show, and
we will eventually. You guys are gonna love him.
You will.
On that note, we've pretty much gone over time now, guys. One thing I will say to close up. Oh, you want to say one more thing? Okay.
No, because it's gonna be. I just wanted to talk about how amazing the Madness of Deathwing was. It was just amazing, and that's really I'm gonna just have Deathwing leering at me this whole time. It was just a really exciting fight. But anyway,
get touched by his tentacles.
Oh yes. Oh, it was just. Oh man, I fanboyed all over that scene.
So many tentacles.
Got touched by the tentacles and fanboyed.
I was just sitting there. I was like, oh my god. It's my hero, and I'm killing him. What am I doing? Save me!
If you would
Breathe
like to tell us about your tentacle experiences, leave your titillating experiences in the comments below, or send us an email. And if you'd like to talk about anything else, send us a question about the show. Again, we're still looking for panelists. Send us your interest, I should say, or well, that sort of good stuff. Send us an email is basically what I'm trying to say, and we'll get back to you. And guys, I think that's a show.
Subscribe.
Yeah,
we
and
love
subscribe.
you.
Yes,
Yeah.
I should be
Subscribe and click that like button.
Yep, click
Exactly.
that like button.
It's a very important green thumb.
It is. Well, thank you very much for listening, guys, and remember.
Your recipe for vegan eggnog is stupid.
Thank you. Take care.
I hate your blog. It's incredibly terrible and bad. I hate your blog. It's incredibly terrible and bad. I hate your blog. You own a dog and you feed it. You post about it. I get to read it. Plus 5 paragraphs on the socks you bought and your thoughts on whether nickel.